What I saw as subtle negative possibilities in corporate culture and in our political system have really upped the intensity of what business as usual means. My background is not in art, it's in philosophy. I was more interested as a student in the individual mind. Now I'm much more interested in society. The world of politics and business does have that mechanical aspect that it's just grinding away and channeling money up to the top of the pyramid. I am interested in making work that engages those issues. Being at this distance from the corporate and government world and having the freedom to be an artist by the modest expense of living the way that I do enables me to talk about that. I don't feel like anybody's looking over my shoulder, which psychologically gives me a lot of freedom. The ideas come to me from advertising, newspaper, TV, movies. There's a lot of preparation, doing sketches, making maquettes, eventually scaling those and doing the machine work to prepare the wood to where it can be carved, and then the actual carving, which is very slow. You know, I've internalized my father, the critical parent. He's inside my head now. So I don't usually get to this feeling of, man, I really nailed it. There's always stuff I'd change if I could do it again. Once I've got the work produced, I may wind up positioning it in a way that didn't occur to me until I could look at it and relate to it physically. I gauge my own sense of power in relation to a sculpture by my size compared to its size. It's like when you're a little child and some grown-up puts their face right in your level and says, no, you can't do that. That feeling of somebody with godlike power zapping me and telling me I couldn't do something, which is very motivating for me to try to do it. It relates to my relationship with my father, but also to the patriarchal political narrative that's playing out in our time. The question that is being presented these days is whether we are working for the good of the group or the good of single individuals. A lot of the problems that we have in our country relate obliquely to the choice between those two ways of living. That is a good starting place for me to go to where I think is a pretty valid place with these ultra-conservative, divisive figures that mobilize class warfare and pit the poor against the rich. I don't want to just think about Charles Koch. I want to think about Ozymandias and Xerxes in Persia in 2500 BC. I want to think about all of the rich and powerful people that, built themselves up at the expense of others. It's more my philosopher self wanting to generalize things and look at all of history rather than just what happened in Washington last week. My favorite thing is for them to be in museums where people can look at them. Those are like my soldiers that I put out in the world to hopefully provoke people a little bit. What I'm hoping for is that I would activate a daydream in the viewer, that they wouldn't necessarily be getting a master narrative from me, but that they would be able to see that there was some kind of power at play. They would see something that might make them smile and might make them think, well, the world is a strange and complicated place, and it's always been that way, and it's probably not going to change very much. Business as usual. So kind of a rueful contemplation of power and its effects.